Hello, stat students. So today I'm going to show you how to do the standard deviation of the residuals on your graphing calculator. We're going to go back to our example with the used Hondas with the 11 CRVs, 1,000 miles driven, and cost. The first thing we want to do is we should always check to see that there's nothing in the y equals. So y equals, I wanted to make sure that my regression equation was not in there. So it's empty. If we go to Stat, Edit, and to save time, I've already entered the explanatory variable in list 1 and the response variable in list 2. All right, so that takes care of step A in that example on the bottom of 3.2c. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to calculate the regression equation. So our good friend Stat, and then calculate. Okay, and we want number 8 because that's the proper way to use it in stats. And then we want list 1, then list 2, so explanatory response. All right, so there is our regression equation, and it gives you the important parts. It gives you the y-intercept, the slope, the coefficient of determination, and the correlation. Okay, now we are going to go back to our list, and we're going to edit. And we are going to make a residual plot, and we need to know the residuals because we want to take the sum of the squared of the residuals and divide by n minus 2. So that'll give us the standard deviation of the residuals. So what you want to do is you want to go to list 3, and you want to go at the very top and highlight it, and you want the residuals, but you don't want to calculate anything by hand. Because remember, residual is actual minus the predicted value, and it would just take too long to go in and do all that. So you go to second, and then you select stat, and that'll pull up a list, and it'll give you all your lists. And so you have L1, L2, yada, yada, yada. And then if you go down to the bottom, whatever calculator you have, you will see a residual. So you select that one. So for me, it's number 7. And then just hit enter, and it'll give you all your residuals. So if you look at the first one for 22,000 miles, that could be a potential outlier because it's a really large residual compared to some of the others. So you can kind of just examine your data, or even the one for 1,709.5. So just something that you can examine. And so now that you have the residuals, you can take the sum of the squared of those, so you can do a one variable statistics because that'll give you all the numbers squared. So now you go back to stat, you go to calculate, and now you can do a one variable stats. So we can do a one variable statistics, and this time we want it on list 3, we want it on our residuals. So to change the list, you go to second and you click on 3 if you want L3. And then calculate, and we want the sum of x squared. So we want the third row, so that would be the 8,496,887.66 that I had you write down on your paper already. And then you also know that there's 11 values total, so the sample size n equals 11, but it's 11 minus 2. So that's where we got the answer. The prediction error was 971.647. That's how you would use the graphing calculator to find the sum of the square root of the residuals. Now to graph it, you would go to second y equal, because that'll pull up your stat plots. Make sure one stat plot is on, mine is on, and then it should be on scatter plot. But the only thing that's going to be different other than the type of plot is, remember what a residual plot it is. The x is the same, so it's the original x, so keep it at L1, but your y should be your residual. So your residual was, you can obtain by going to the second list, because that's the one you want as your list, so, or second stat, sorry. So second stat pulls up the list menu, and you go on number 7, and so your X is L1 and your Y list is your residual. And then you just want to hit graph, Well, we don't see anything. So when we don't see anything, we want to do zoom 9, and there is your residual plot. If you analyze it, it's a really good scatter. I mean, you have 5 points like above and 5 below, but you don't see, or actually you have a little more below, but nothing too alarming. The main thing is you don't see a curvature, so a linear model would be a good fit for our data. And that is how you um, find the standard deviation of the residuals and make a residual plot on your graphing calculator. Have a great day, stat students.